It's still,
Right?
like, it should be good to go.
Okay, call meeting order. Roll call.
Chair Wertz.
Here.
Vice Chair Yant is absent this evening. Tony Bevel,
Here.
Dorian Leibel,
Here.
Lisa Patterson is absent tonight, Richard Amici,
Here.
and Lawrence O'Keefe.
Here.
Right, very good, thank you.
Okay, next is approval of minutes. Does anybody have any corrections? If not, take a motion on that.
Take a motion to approve minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Confirming that our audio is working.
Okay, discussion. Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any citizen comment?
No citizen comments and so.
All right, new traffic safety requests. So first one is 2025-017 request to restrict parking on Smith Avenue to the other side. Details of park start impeding view of oncoming traffic.
Right last year.
No, I had it. Yes.
I know the guy that wrote this and I actually drive that route and turn left on that road multiple times. I understand what he's saying. There's cars parked, when you turn left on the Smith and Meineke, there's cars parked on Smith. Would be on the right side as you turn, and they're almost to the edge of the corner there. On the right. That's funny, that's a funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
Talking right here, with some continental stone.
Yeah, so is there no parking on one side of the street already? On like the cars that are coming towards you, there's parking on both sides of the street right now, right?
It's the same, about a half foot short on our fire code. It's the same thing we've dealt with throughout Woodhaven and then over by south of town. It's the same thing where we're like 28 feet and we're just a half foot short on our fire code, so.
Kind of the same instances with Pinehurst and Pinehurst.
So besides that short, that means we can't have no parking on one side, or you can only have it on one.
We can't do a fire, we can't use like TDF&R fire access as a reason to put the code up. I think there's no ordinance. I think it'd be more of like a recommendation from the traffic safety board to the city council to come up with maybe a recommendation that we could apply elsewhere. I think that's been the sticking point here is we can't do anything here because it's a problem elsewhere. So we're just short on fire code. And we've had discussions about how the cars parked on both sides kind of help the traffic flow in like Gilwood, Southwest Gilwood Drive's a good example of that. So I don't know how we respond as a committee here or a board on this. Could make a recommendation to council to come up with some rules that apply throughout the city. So it's a tough one. Anybody have any comments?
I remember we had this a year or two ago.
Always like it's probably the number one.
And I don't remember what the resolution was last time or what we decided on. Does anyone remember?
I think we left it because, so.
There was no clear answer. Yeah, no reason to do anything, so we did.
I was trying to find it, but it looks like maybe the city got a new website and I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I think that's the gist of it is, it is traffic calming to have cars on both sides and I drive Gilwood all the time and I've almost hit on people that I slow down. So I think it's maybe a recommendation that we make of maybe a certain distance that covers that 20 feet, but I don't know what we can do. This is kind of a citywide sort of thing. And I don't know what to do.
Is the law for parking from the stop sign, like 30 feet, you're not allowed to have 30, is it 20?
Yeah, something like that.
I know you're not allowed to park right to the radius, you have to park a certain distance back.
Yeah, I think 20 feet's right. Without looking,
The only thing I can think is maybe to like put no parking signs with an arrow at that point, so people know not to park up to the stop sign past that point. That would be it, at least you'd have that little buffer then, that legal buffer. If that's an issue, people are coming right up to the stop sign and parking.
15. It's not
50.
as soon as I said 20, I'm like, I might be wrong.
I think 20, yeah, it'd be 20.
Yeah, it's pretty close. 50 is pretty far.
So that's also the other thing is when it's similar to Pine Street. Where it's so narrow, you're not required to have no stopping standing signs, it's a law. But we put them up, so those just aren't really like within our legal realm to just go do. I think taxpayers, signs cost money, so I think those are. So we could recommend and. We ended up putting those up on Pine Street where it says no stopping standing. But it was within the distance to where you don't need those signs to. You can't stop in a travel lane and block traffic, it's just law.
Question I have is it a continual problem or just a certain time of the day? I mean, if it's a certain time of the day, that's what it is.
I'll just fall back on Gilwood as my example of the street that I drive there every day and they're parked on both sides. I deal with it. It slows me down and it's, I believe, a call that's above our board, I think.
I think one of their comments that was brought up last time was that if we do no parking on one side of that street, where are those cars going to go? Right, because they're pushing the problem to a different street.
Exactly.
This is all residential, people parking there anyway. Local residents.
I would cite an example of Pinehurst at Sunset, where they took there was cars parked right along Woodhaven Park there. From the corner all the way, and they took that yellow curb and painted it. And that, now that you said 50 feet, looks like 50 feet, is that something that we could do? I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah, no, I think that would be for the board to make a recommendation to the city council and just. Or city manager, even, and I can take that, we might be able to paint certain segments or the 50 feet and just want to sign that. I don't think that'd be a good solution here to just start. Doing that, because it used to be 20 feet within a crosswalk,
Yeah, so
50 feet of a traffic control device. I think it's-
reading it a little bit closer, it's can't park within 50 feet. Stop sign, traffic control device, if the parking of the vehicle will obstruct the view of the device. So, like a sedan could technically park within 50 feet because it's not blocking, but like a box truck, be a problem. So I think it'd be easier just to say no.
I agree with that's Old Town. We've had that problem with the tall vehicle there at Third and I think it's Third and Washington, where that blocks the sign and people have missed that stop sign. So I'll look to you guys for a recommendation on that, but
I have questions. So I did see, I can't find the actual packet from the last time we talked about it. It looks like everything from before this, I don't know where the website just, everything that before is gone.
that just happened.
Last week.
Yeah, last week, a month early. I thought it was gonna happen. But
One of the things I saw was that we were gonna put it on the GIS map, which now we have one. Is this on there? Can we see that? Is there something-
Yes, but I don't know if we can do it right now. We're ready to,
We're not live yet for that?
yeah.
That's my.
It was
I just emailed you one of the packets from August of last year, but I have the number, it's 2023-006.
Those will show up.
We discussed it also.
When I found the number and I found the agenda, I can't find the packet that says.
Yeah, I found this one isn't the most recent, but
I think it's enforcing the 50 feet would be probably the best option. We can do that. between, yeah, the city and.
So the 20 feet thing, 20 feet's from the crosswalk, 50 feet's from the stop sign.
No, that would probably resolve like 80% of the problems, even at the one over off of Murdoch. We had one Boca Road coming in. The subdivision there, and if we get 50 feet off that, that would probably take care of those ones there. So could it be where we just look into the 50 feet and maybe sign that and that be kind of the recommendation next month?
I think the hesitation in the past doing that kind of stuff is that we're setting a precedence. Now we're gonna go around all town and put in. These
If it's
things.
50 feet with the, I thought it was 20.
So 20 from crosswalk and 50 feet from the stop sign, so. It's kind of. Seems silly the way they wrote the statute, because most crosswalks on streets like this have a stop sign there.
Right. I think it's a good incremental approach. We can be, see how many signs we can get up. I do appreciate the comments though on the cars on both sides and going slower, because
It is natural speed.
yeah, I can almost argue it both ways, I guess, is kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah. Minus the 50 feet in statute. The tough one, this is like our most frequent question. Smith is tight, it's driving through their fire life and safety, but it's no different than the other streets that we've got this complaint about. It's like no different, so more of a policy stance, I guess. I do like to just enforce the ORS stuff, 50 feet, 20 feet, and then see where things are at. That might take care of half of the complaints. I understand the complaints, so that makes sense. State of mind of how you're driving to it, and, you know. In a hurry, patient, you know.
Jason, could I ask a favor? Would you speak up a little bit?
Oh, sorry.
Be having a difficult time here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Most of that was pointless.
I got most of it.
So, yeah.
I don't know, I hesitate to just jump right to putting something physical on the ground, makes this enforcement, I mean, the law already requires it, right, so maybe. Is there some sort of other method we could do that doesn't involve? Painting curb and putting in a sign? Like, do you think there's any benefit to doing some education? It's probably all the same people that are parking there, right?
I'm assuming so. I haven't paid that close attention to cars, but I'm guessing there are people living right there in the bubble for, just.
I didn't see the same cars over and over and the same.
Maybe we could just put one of those little sandwich boards up there that have a little sign that says no parking within 50 feet of the thing. It's an education thing for like a couple weeks and then take it away and see if it worked.
And I can even go over there too and look and just. See if the car is, what house it's registered to, so. If it's like 4 or 5 cars, just see if I can knock on some doors and just be like, hey,
Yeah.
Gotta move the car back.
Tough question to answer, I think. If you were to impress me, I would say just put the signs up, and have them doing the same thing over and over. Once you do it twice, that's the cost of the sign. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's these are the tough ones. It's like,
yeah. I mean, I agree with the I just know that in the past, we've always kind of. Like hesitation to do that, because then you're just gonna be doing it down.
Nurse is a great example of,
Yeah.
we ended up painting it. Why don't we get these critical spots, paint them? If our council's on board with it and city governors do it, then go from there. That kind of interpretation.
And Pinehurst is a really busy thoroughfare almost. This kind of isn't. I mean,
Right.
it's a neighborhood. It doesn't really
Well, I
go.
would-
So maybe when church is happening on Sunday, it might be really busy there, but it's on mine, it's busy, but Smith isn't. So it doesn't seem like it's that. It's a couple residents that if we put no parking, we've now displaced them. They don't have anywhere else to park. And it's a short stretch. You're not gonna necessarily speed on it anyway. I mean, I just kind of, I think what happened last time is we tabled it for like 6 months and then ended up deciding to take no action.
Yeah, I see.
And it's kind of feeling like we're in the same spot where we're either gonna close it and do nothing, or we'll just push it out and end up doing nothing. That's how we're all going. Sensing this going.
No.
So enforcement, wouldn't that much as we.
Curious if a lot of the people in the neighborhood, especially around like school drop off time, just go up and use the light at Friars. Because I sit right here in the LDS parking lot most mornings when it's peak drop off time. And I rarely see cars coming up Smith, you know, and if they do, if they're trying to turn right, usually they just get fed up, they turn left, go roundabout. I see them come back the other direction. Because it's way too hard to turn right out of there during school drop off time.
If I were the person submitting this complaint, I would be satisfied if we showed, like, my street in particular, south of Middleton Road, where people park. I mean, we can show examples where this is happening elsewhere, and it might help show a citywide issue and might help just. I agree, it's not busy. This isn't Pinehurst and Sunset, so. But this is like the crux of the traffic safety committee dealing with these possible items.
I think I might lean towards not taking action, but letting you guys take the next month to look into it, and if it's a bigger citywide issue that you guys think that we need to address, then we can revisit it.
And rest assured, this will show up in GIS, and this is probably the 5th or 6th. We've got it on this.
Isn't the same person that's been filing the
No,
complaint?
this is different,
Different.
yeah. It's understandable, I think, just.
Yep.
It's odd that Galewood doesn't come up on this one, because I drive that home all the time, and I 1 out of 10 times go to a head-on, and one person has to back up. Maybe more, 1 out of 20 times, but.
Yeah.
That's kind of my example street for parking on both sides.
Yeah, I live by Galewood and I drive it a lot, and it's probably the worst with Sherwood, and I think no one's submitting complaints because they don't want the parking to disappear, and where are they gonna go?
That's probably true.
It's.
Yeah, people just leave it as is and just deal with it.
No.
But there's so the 50 feet and the 20 feet, which I think we might be able to get some movement on that, and then educate and say, hey, you're not the only street that's like this, and it might help. But outreach.
Yeah.
You can say no, I think that might be.
You guys want to do? I would make a motion to just kind of table this for another month and readdress it. See what the 50-foot thing is, see where. What happens with the 4 or 5 cars there. I mean. I don't really see a way around doing this and not setting a precedent, and then if that's the case, then. We should probably look at busy intersections across them, there's
We
not.
talked about a frequently asked question, like item for this, because it does come up a lot, that we would provide like a city endorsed response to it, might help by the next meeting. Since it comes up so much, so we can at least provide a response to residents, because this does come out, it's a legit concern, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Comparing the Pinehurst one, the yellow curve there, the yellow curve's there because the park's right there too. So there's a lot of children in there. That's why that's one of the big things of having the curb there. So you can see if a child does decide to run out across. This is a different area, different situation. Whereas there's not a park there. I mean, I get it. Anybody can be walking down there and run out in the traffic, but it's more likely than a park. So that's just something to think about.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we should connect it to the last time we had it and default to that resolution. Unless this now has pushed it to a tipping point where more action is needed. I don't know if the more times it comes up is what's gonna require action, but. You know, we don't remember what it was, but we made a decision last time.
I like Jason's, Jason Waters' idea of, a city response, standard response to people, you know, having issues with a narrow street and wanting to remove the parking. I think it's a good idea to just, when these issues come up, have a standard city response to that. So to the people in the area or to the person who's writing the complaint up.
It would be nice to have a city map that shows, you know, all the streets, that shows the widths and, you know, that shows how much parking spaces available for cars and then how much is for parked cars. I mean, citywide, and then, you know, identify the problem areas like this. Wishful thinking.
GIS map might kind of start to get us there. At least I know.
And we have the radar detectors that are not looped, not the pneumatic tubes. We could, after we're done at Pinehurst and Woodhaven, collecting our data there, we can set these up there and show whether there's over like a 5,000 ADT. That's like a MUTCD threshold. I think it's 5,000 where you put stripes, center line stripes and requirements. And just at least knowing how many cars are on the street would help when these complaints come in. Not saying that if you submit a comment, we're gonna go set these things up, but I think we're obligated to go set them up in all collectors and arterials regardless. Time, you know.
5,000 cars a day, then it requires that, or?
Yeah, there's some requirements where you have to put like a double center line stripe in like bold faced in the MUTCD where it's, if you're over a certain threshold, you have to put a center line stripe down. And I think like Pine Street going up up the hill is like right at that threshold. So it's a significant amount of traffic. This won't hit it. But that would be a good truthing of a submitted complaint. We've got 10,000 cars on the street. Yeah, it's like Pinehurst. We need to go do something about it. But without data, I don't think we can do anything substantial. So I think that would be we need to have those things set up, collecting data 365 is kind of the way I'm thinking.
Okay, so we're gonna let this one sit for a month. And do a little more research. Okay. I think we need a motion for that. Okay, the next one is 2518, speed concerns on Willamette. Lincoln intersection to Division Street. It says on Lincoln from Willamette to Division. Is that correct? Yeah. This one we've had before too. I couldn't find it either, but pretty sure we got this one.
I'll look this up too. He says it on here connected to 003 point, oh, never mind, okay, never mind.
Where would the traffic safety committee prefer if we did set devices up after Pinehurst and Woodhaven, between these two? Maybe I'll have to make a motion, just we're gonna go. So, like, which location would you, if we put up data collection devices, would you want them at the Smith and Meineke, or would you prefer they be at Lincoln and Lamont Street? I think we just need data. I think it's kind of the.
Yeah, if we were to get a count on how many cars go with the busier street. It seems offhand, I'd say if I had to choose, I think Meineke is a busier street than Willamette.
Now let's go through this one and then maybe we can add some feedback on that after we talk this one. I'm curious from enforcement perspective, if you guys had a chance to revisit this.
No, not yet.
Just came from.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess revisit, I don't know, you probably weren't around, maybe we weren't doing this when we had it last time, but.
it doesn't sound familiar, no,
It's understandable that, you pick up speed going downhill, so I can definitely see speeding happening.
if we're planning on this one, this was actually a call I took. He lives right in this area. He's got some kids that play in the front yard, and he said, cars constantly come speeding by, which I do believe, because every single day when I'm on patrol on Oregon Street, people cut up Lincoln and vice versa. They'll come down the hill, but this particular complaint was for the straight stretch, not the hill.
Pretty flat there.
Looking pretty flat.
Yeah, go past Willamette, and then it starts going up pretty steep.
Yeah,
There's a stop at one, this.
yes, yeah. Yeah, there's four-way stop at Willamette. But people both directions will hit the stop sign and then just, according to the complaint, fly down towards Oregon and vice versa, coming back up the other direction.
I thought this was for the hill though, between, on Lincoln between the land and division.
It could be, I just remember that I talked to this guy on the phone and I told him he should submit a request, so. That's just fresh in my mind, so.
Where's division at? Is that farther to the south?
That's Snyder.
Yeah, divisions. Here.
Intersection of
Yeah, this is the hill. And then four-way stop or.
Yeah, he's saying up Lincoln Street to Division, going up the hill and down the hill.
Okay. So there must have been two. Maybe it's the 3.1 that I talked to when it wasn't. I do know people fly down that hill. I mean, I've stopped people doing 45, 47, 48 down that 25 multiple times.
Yeah.
I gotta be careful on my bicycle.
I'm up on a house on that.
Oh, that's my advice.
So for this division.
Data, yeah, nice to have, and then speed cushions, all that. Slopes, the spot between Willamette and Division is gonna be harder to put any speed cushions on ever. That might be more appropriate for like a speed grade feedback sign. Like telling you how fast you're going, and then speed cushions are. Speed humps are not permitted by the city council, just little beams going across the street. And they're not really in our toolbox. They're not really supported at this point, but that might be a section where we could do it from Willamette to Oregon, but again. Data, I think, is the crucial component here. We'll get going on our ADT program. We have at least data for everybody to look at like other cities do. It's not that hard. We already have the prices, so let's get going on that.
I think collecting radar data on this one would be more beneficial.
Will be, you put our trailer there.
Well, he's got the one.
Yeah, I got that. I'm gonna do the, another one's coming up here, but I think this spot here between Willamette and Oregon is the next spot we go put those in, and then we can. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll need it, at least, unless this is just written wrong, so we'll need it between Willamette and Division also.
That's where.
yes, it's just the slope kind of like, there's not much more, because it's so sloped, it's like the options of. These treatments are harder.
The treatments are harder, but I guess it's been hard to address this
Yeah.
person's complaint.
Yeah.
We don't have data on that particular area.
So what we'll do is we'll do Woodhaven, Pinehurst, we'll collect data for that stop sign warrant analysis that we're doing there, and then we'll break this up in, I think, 2-week sections and do Willamette, Oregon, and then 2 weeks on Willamette to Division, and you don't need to make a motion on it, we'll just do it. Data back. Next meeting.
I will add I guess, a thought on this, it's related to the traffic. The transportation system plan. Sherwood, I mentioned this to you after the last meeting, but Sherwood, I feel like is lacking good. Well-built routes through town, and so if you're going from. Walmart Langers to Sunset, Sunset Park, Center Park, whatever, that is your route. I mean, you're taking Langers, doing that weird double, sharp turn onto Lincoln, taking Lincoln to Division over to. It's just a lot of turns. It's not a very efficient, smooth route. And so I think because of that. So my theory is that that leads people to speed in the stretches that they can speed in because it's not a very smooth and efficient way to get from one place to another.
Agreed.
So I'm not sure there's a solution, but maybe we'll talk about it anyways during the TSP process.
Most traffic calming I've seen on Lincoln coming down the hill is every time a UPS or maybe a FedEx truck is parked in the middle of the road and two people are coming at each other and it gets really narrow. Somebody has to stop usually.
I thought what I'm thinking of is that we've talked about this before on the hill section. And that the issue that I remember was that there wasn't a speeding issue on the hill. But it was a perception that when people are going up the hill, their engines are, roaring.
Revs.
And it sounds like they're hauling, but they're not. And that's what I recall, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was another conversation I had with somebody. I thought it was this.
I don't think we'll ever have data to support the downhill stuff. It'll be like random speeding, but it's gonna be super high level, like people going real fast. But it won't be at like the cost is 10% to where we get data that supports going to a manual and saying, all right, enough for a, speed feedback sign or something like that, but I think this is a good spot to set the data collection system up after minors. And again, you don't have to put on that. We're gonna be setting those up and keeping that consistent, I think.
All right.
And I'll speak of
Visit next.
We're gonna keep those radar devices set up throughout the city.
I have a follow-up. So once you collect the data, are there any specific treatments depending on what you see? Depending on the functionality of the roadway?
I believe we do have a resolution adopted that there's the toolbox based on volumes like 5,000, 10,000 that we can pick from to select from. So.
All right, we'll move on to the pending ones. First one's 25003, request for street improvements at Main Division intersection.
I did not set up our actual field detection to see if we were at the levels. We were right at the cusp of being well lit on that one. So I think we need to just keep that on there. I did not set up there. We have a illumination level detector that we set up. If that's bright enough, but I'll just be straight up. I have not had the time to turn that on. But it's close, like just on our analysis is that the whole intersection. We have a new light going in the northeast corner. People at home won't be able to see, but this overhead's getting upgraded to the brightest level possible. We hope that can light it up enough, and it's right on the cusp of being at the city county levels. So I think where we left it last time was there's other places that have worse off than this. Let's just keep this on the list and we're back.
The next one is 25-009, speeding concerns at Washington and Miami Eli Middle School. So we'll start back up.
So we'll go back up. Today's only my second day back with school, so I haven't heard.
Okay.
Do the SROs do traffic patrol enforcement on school mornings?
Depending on their morning schedule, yeah, yeah, they do.
Yes, we'll just need more time on this one as far as getting back into it, just kind of like before, hey, summertime, school's a session, we'll see if it's continuing to be the same problems in most schools.
Is it
I had a document on my computer that. Silly deleted. I it was just a tally of vehicles I was stopping for doing at least 10 over on Meineke when we had this come in towards the end of the school year. And I think within 3 weeks, I had stopped, if I remember right, just shy of 40 people for doing at least 30, if not faster, in the school zone. And I'm talking like, I wasn't even hiding. I was literally sitting in the special left turn lane in the middle of the road as plainly visible as possible, and people just right by me.
I think this is one we should keep on, just for the 80, the percentile, keep an eye on, just looking at the urban SDK data and stuff, and just. I don't wanna say resigning or increasing posted speed, but it might be one of those roads that does potentially warrant a 30 mile per hour signage, but I don't know. That's something we can look at through the PSP update, but just driving it myself on my way in, I start off the roundabout at 30 for some reason. And that's just my natural instinct to do that. And that's what the 85th percentile is all about, is your natural reaction to drive. So it's potentially a street that we could sign and change speed limit on. But I don't have an answer on this one too. This is an anomaly with the high school becoming a junior high now, and parents dropping off kids on their way to work, and in the morning, it's a definite interesting in it, and only one middle school for the whole city. I think is another interest. We don't have any other cities to compare that to. It's very unique, I must say.
Okay, we'll wait to hear what you guys find next one. Our next one is 2510, speeding concerns at First Street and Park Street intersection.
We got the stop sign installed, so I'm to report, but you can drop it. Done.
Move to close it.
Sure.
All right, I'm move that we close it. It's complete.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 25-13, request speed limit sign, extra enforcement, stop sign at Wolf and.
Charlie was there now. I drove by it days ago.
They're still out there. Not really getting any information to show consistency of any speeding or anything. It seems to be just the average speed is still there in the 20 mile an hour, not 11-20. Sorry. I get back.
We did have another, this was the second frequently asked question that we thought might be helpful to have a response to, because urban SDK or traffic software that we have, it doesn't support speeding on this road, but it's a valid concern. So I think this might help to do a second FAQ response from the city of, hey, we understand your concerns and here's how we're going to respond to it. I don't have an answer on that one, but yeah, it comes up so much that we think we need a FAQ on this one too. I think we're gonna do that anyways. I think that's.
So we have a new communications director or something, right?
And we do have a new.
Yeah, we should.
PIO.
Yeah, we should plan on rolling out.
Yeah.
Is there something?
Yeah, because
You don't need a vote on it. I think that's already, we have two FAQs in response to the street width, and it's the 8 people are speeding on my road, but we don't have data to support it. Why am I not getting the speed radar signs up on my street, or why am I not getting a mid-block crossing? So I think that's what our intent is, to cut these off at the pass with some responses.
that's that. That's good.
Just need to stay.
you need a motion?
I'd leave it on. I mean, honestly, I mean, if you want, it's up to you guys, but I mean,
I'll just leave it on.
yeah, wait till we have got the responses on these two.
So you have the reader out, right?
Yeah, we have the trailer out there now.
Okay.
That shows people's speeds and
So typically how much longer do you keep them up?
usually, like for that, we usually leave it out for at least a month.
Okay. So next month, we're gonna update. And
Okay, 2025-30. No, we just did 13. 14. Request for 2 additional stop signs at Woodhaven and Pinehurst intersection.
Collecting data and I'm just gonna go on my gut here, but I believe that we'll have the data to support an always stop there. It will dovetail into the stop sign past Dewey having a stop sign and Dewey not having a stop sign, but this, we're collecting data. I think it's gonna support an always stop here, especially with the bridge open. There's a lot more pedestrian traffic out there, so if we're thinking the future, I think we're gonna end up having an always stop here. And really, I think what we need to do at the next meeting is just giving an update on where we're collecting data at and. We're gonna collect data here. This will be done by the next meeting. We should move on over to Lincoln Street with the next set. Maybe that's what we vote. Just kind of where we're gonna set these devices up there. Agree to the priorities there. Yeah. For now, we're covering till the next meeting.
All right, we'll need to see what the data shows for that one. Yeah, that's supposed to speak down over it. I think that's it for pending stuff. On to council meetings.
Yeah, I couldn't hear from them,
Board announcements.
I got a couple things. So Jason, I heard there's a setback with Timbrel.
Yeah, a little redesign of the signal pole foundation. That was, we were so set up to open for school within like a day's delay and we had to redesign the signal foundation. It just got approved. And so we're targeting October, the in-service weekend to just do the ramps then. So no impacts to school and don't expect the school zone flashers to be down at all. So that's our priority is just don't mess with the crossing guards, don't mess with the ramps, keep the kids going. And I just kind of called that off because we're about to go blow the ramps out like last week right before school. And then there would have been like negative hours of screw ups if something happened after that. Sure. Some soft soil out there if you undulating Woodhaven, if you picture what it used to look like, and they came in and filled in the whole subdivision with fill, and then our signal is right in that nice import fill, and then it hit right in the native, and it sunk. It's better word sinks, and so it just kind of started. Had some issues with soft soil and stuff.
Thanks for the update.
We're still on schedule to get that done this fall. And we have the signal arriving, the equipment's arriving here in October, so it's actually 2 different paths will align at the same time and we'll still get it done. Overall schedule, yes.
Yeah, before the end of the year.
Was there a final count on how many trees you guys end up having to remove?
Right now we're removing 3 and then we're gonna target looking at the limbs and stuff and delimbing them. So we can remove as the minimum possible, but not the 18 or 20
Yeah,
that we have in the plans.
That's good. Okay.
So Jason, there's no delay in regards to the materials?
No, the signal pole, I mean, they were gonna arrive when they do. We're kind of at the whim of the supplier, so they're supposed to arrive in November around Thanksgiving. So the overall schedule, that's not changed. Of completing to when the Hawk system's installed.
Signal poles are usually 16 weeks out when you order them. It takes a while to build them and galvanize them and all that.
Right, I mean, this project, when we were first starting, we were hoping to get it completed before we started. So-
Yeah, and that, we're doing, actually, we're approved, we're doing a presentation at the APWA Fall Conference on this one, and lessons learned are gonna be throughout the board for every agency to learn on how to fast track projects when you order stuff yourself, why you do or don't want to do it. There are reasons you do want to do what you try to do, and I just want to spread the word on kind of a lessons learned sort of an event, because each, with the best of intentions, it's like we kind of crisscrossed being able to fast track things, and we kind of slowed it down kind of, but everything happens for a reason, because we didn't expect to hit a horizon of mush at the bottom of it, so.
So the good news is that it's not hindering,
No.
right?
Final
As far as
completion.
pedestrian traffic or student traffic.
This could have been worse, let me tell you, if everything went per plan, you know, we would have had our signal kind of going like this in 5 years. We would have all been stuck fixing it, so.
Stop trucks from taking sunset.
Yeah. Everything happens for the way to write that project.
Richard, did you have one?
I have one more, this is for Officer Pierce. E-bikes on the bridge. I've seen a bunch already. I know e-bikes are supposed to be on the road, not on the sidewalk. Since it's a pedestrian bridge, is that a sidewalk up there? Is it kind of a hybrid and it has all sets of rules?
This would be something that have to go to city council.
Yeah,
You know, as far as I'm concerned, e-bikes have no business on that.
Cause technically it's actually a sidewalk, cause it's connecting one sidewalk to another, it's just a bridge between the two.
Yeah.
So that's would be something that have to be.
Keep an eye on these too,
There are beauty codes that would have to be.
They just built a sidewalk, like ramp to get up on the sidewalk. I suppose if you have to dismount your bike, then that makes sense, but.
Bicycles, I mean, you have to yield to pedestrian because there's pedals on them. So you can stop them and do that, but these electric bikes, that's a whole different beast. So that would be something, again. Yeah. We'd have
So
to
you
bring
will
to city council.
roving bands of kids on e-bikes, like little gang e-bikes.
I saw the drive here, there was 3, 4 e-bikes going across, one of which was definitely one of the e-motorcycles, the little shorty one. I walked across the opening day with my kids, and a person probably my age comes zipping by on a little go-kart. And could have been more than 2 feet total from the top of his head to the ground with this tall orange flag just right by. It was an electric one. But still, it's like, okay, I know everyone's excited to get on an opening day, but it didn't seem that was appropriate. So,
e-bikes are one thing, the e-motorcycles are a whole other beast of problem.
yeah, so yeah, I know.
Illegal to be off private property, they can't be on the road, period. Yet they are all over the place. It's a motorcycle, you have to have it registered and insured and safety equipment and like this endorsement, you have the license, insurance and all that stuff. And
I haven't seen one of those yet.
They didn't have helmets, so.
we actually had a problem, high school kid last year on one of those elude our SRO. And we caught him. And he's in charge of the felony. We ran.
Yeah, it got all the ways. Is it within our scope without a citizen complaint for us to make a recommendation to council to address the concern on the bridge? Is that something within our abilities?
But when you consider an e-bike can do 25 miles per hour.
More.
So,
Now you get hit by 25 miles per hour, you're hurting.
so I do know that the e-bike conversation has come up with council, especially related to trails. So I don't know, I don't believe that they've made a policy in regards to allowing them or not. But definitely, you know, the conversation still needs to happen, especially since what's happening now on the bridge. But I do know like some state trail system, like the Oregon historic trail at the gorge, they allow e-bikes on there.
Mhm.
This is a bridge that's how many feet? And you have people, adults, kids, bringing their animals, whatever, walking across there, we're doing 25 miles per hour. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the e-bike, especially when, they're not paying attention to what they're doing.
Okay, let's kick the discussion part of it to another time, but maybe between now and our next meeting, if you could, somebody, I don't know, from staff, if someone can just maybe relay the topic up to the city manager or whoever it needs to go to, and then if it turns into an agenda item, I feel like there should be some coordination with council. But maybe we can have agenda item on a future meeting where we can.
Yeah, this should stay on there too, and I'll just give you my feedback on, I've meant like 15 mile per hour signs are, potentially a good idea, but then the feedback was you can't ticket it, people under 18. And just keeping track of that is hard, but just keep your eyes tuned to other communities, because this is an issue. And I would bring up Old Town recently. I've been driving through there and I've been seeing kids on the scooters. And each time they're able to beat me to the stop signs, the acceleration of my car, and each time they beat me to all 3 stop signs, and this has happened like now 4 or 5 times. And I don't want to hit the kids. And they keep beating me with a stop sign, and then I don't know when they're turning, and this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue, so just.
So I know
Their
that
ears out.
it says, like, the question has rose to a couple of city council members, but I'll take it upon myself to meet the city manager. See if that message or those concerns or questions are at least even brought up and talked.
Ordinances too, cost money for us to adopt.
I think it's worth having a conversation. I'm not sure that there's a one voice happening here, and I don't think across the city you're gonna find the same opinions. So I think it's worth having a conversation. I just think it should be coordinated, so.
And I think it's probably too big for our group. I think city council needs to have a work session specifically on e-bikes. And it's something that we should get ahead of, because Lime scooters and those types of companies are reaching out and putting their scooters in Tigard, and it's just a matter of time before they want to start putting it here. The city needs to have just some general rules in place, so.
Above us, you can start that process.
Okay.
Just to add to that, I think there's 2 sort of separate things here. There's the broader scope of the idea of e-bikes in the city of Sherwood. And then there's specifically the issue of e-bikes on the new bridge. The bridge is a rather unique feature everywhere. And I think that's sort of a separate thing from the whole idea of what to do with all the e-bikes that are showing up in the city. So I see the bridge being a little bit more acute of an issue than the rest of it, all the trails and whatnot that they're on. Not that it's, necessarily less important, but I think it's more of an issue with that bridge. It will be if it's allowed, for a long time. The kids will get used to it. Everyone else that has it will get used to it. And then you'll just see them flying up across the bridge all the time.
Okay, so maybe make that note that bridge in particular is of interest and concern. I think we could talk about it for hours out here, so.
Right, and ordinances too are for a city to take the lead on this, cost money and in the effort. We usually typically wait for the state to revise their statutes and administrative rules on it, so. I think from the police's perspective, we don't want to be enforcing something that isn't adopted at the state's level, I think. Smart.
Any other board folks have something on the agenda?
I got
a couple things, what is the best way to request like vegetation trimming? So there's 2 spots in particular that I think need to be trimmed pretty quickly. One is right at Timberland on the southbound on Sunset. The left half of the crosswalk is blocked by the really pretty flowers and bushes. And I know that something's happening there with the project, but that just drives me nuts. And then the other one is, this has been an issue that's come up here before, but I've noticed it recently at Hanley and Elwer. When you're trying to turn from Hanley onto Elwer, you can't see and you end up having to get into that travel lane to turn. And it's just because of some bushes off on the right, but is there a good way to share these concerns? That is that just email Public Works or?
No, I think that, we've had some staff cuts and we used to have a code of compliance person that would help us out with this, and I don't wanna speak on behalf of the police, they're already slammed anyways. So I think we need this, I understand what you're saying. I don't know who, I don't wanna volunteer.
So Jason, are these, the vegetation, are they in public right of way or are they private property?
Say this is triangle.
Well, at least the one on
It's living.
Sunsets, it's in the middle, so.
It's, okay,
Yeah, he's talking about somewhere.
Maybe want to see about enough.
so
Maybe.
when I receive these calls in the planning department, I usually send them to Public Works. Because they're the ones that do the maintenance.
Yeah.
And just to bring awareness that this is something that, you know, the vegetation needs to be.
So should we just try to email if it works?
Yeah,
Is this what you're talking about right here?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's illegal. Even if we're not owners of the property, if you're within the site distance triangle of trying to stop art out, you have the authority to go tell that property owner to trim their stuff. It's just who is gonna do it. You know, I don't want
I've been
to
doing some of this trimming myself, like maybe in the middle.
I've honestly, yeah.
Okay, and then.
City road.
at least Jason, you'll get an answer when you reach out to Public Works because they have, you know,
But Aaron.
like a checklist in regards to what I needs to contact.
Okay.
What needs to happen next.
Yeah, because it depends on the location, and we've had this conversation this week because of just what Jason was talking about. Cuts and everything, and like who's responsible for that, so it really should, and I will confirm this. It really should start with the Public Works first to see,
Yeah.
and then if not, then
Send the email.
then it could go to the person under our roof that is handling the code compliance stuff, if it is a code issue. So.
Thanks.
I just don't want it to fall back. Get that.
Yeah, we don't have.
But it's the even.
No, it's involves. Oh, so I don't.
Okay, I think we should move on to the staff comments, which we've got some stuff in our packet for you.
Excellent. That would be me, right? And so would you like to bring up the presentation and then share it?
Yes.
Sure. Like, that's not slow stuff, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. So we are here, or I'm here tonight to discuss about the Sherwood School Zone Crossing Assessment that was generated by Kittleson and Associates with the help of city staff and also the school district. Let's see, advance. Well, let's see. On. And there you go. Maybe. Right. Let's go back and get it over there. Maybe. Oh. Oops. Okay, well. Okay, great. So we actually took an effort to look at all of the elementary schools. Middleton Elementary is not one just because we did a whole year of Safe Routes to School action plan for it. So it has a very specific detail in regards to the improvements that's required for Middleton Elementary. So we evaluated 3 different schools. The remaining 3 elementary schools, Archer Glen, Hawks View, Ridges. We teamed up with engineer, city staff, and also typically the principal of that school and one of the school administrators is also part of that. So assessment, we did the background review, we did an actual walk audit on May 6th. At the 3 schools, we got input from the city, the school, and the school district. We also provided information to them in regards to safety concern that were raised by the traffic safety committee at that time. And then guidance in regards to FHWA, proposed improvements in regard to coordination and implementation also. Okay. I don't know. All right, so let's start with Archer Glen. So the issues and safety concerns, drivers often will deal to crossing guards and pedestrians. You guys heard this about the mailbox obstruction, right? High vehicle volumes and drivers and impatience during the arrival and dismissal, lack of marked pedestrian space in park pickup and drop off, and parents and students crossing Sunset Boulevard outside of the crosswalk. So the conceptual treatments based on the analysis is doing a mid-block crossing on Sunset Boulevard in front of the school, refuge island, a pedestrian refuge island with a rectangular rapid flashing beacon. Also advanced yield pedestrian signage here. So that, everyone's aware in regards to where this mid-block crossing is going to be. The pickup and drop-off parking, we basically added a 5-foot, where my arrow is here, a 5-foot walking aisle with curbs to separate the pedestrians from the vehicles, and marked crosswalks and ADA compliant curb ramps. I think it'll just help. But again, this is not on the street, this is actually on their site. So definitely the school district will have to buy in regards to these improvements. And I do want to caveat, all these conceptual treatments, we have no funding whatsoever for them. The study is just there to identify what the needs are, and hopefully we can find some type of funding source in the future. Again, this is just a cost summary as far as today's dollars on how much all of this would cost. And estimates are at planning level, so there's no detailed engineering completed in regards to the funding or not the cost summaries. At Hawks View, the issues there, mid-block crossing at Hawks View, the outdated flashing beacons need modernization. There's definitely high pedestrian volumes to the main entrance. The school parking lot driveways, the northern driveway, there's a high vehicle pedestrian conflict points. Southern driveway, close to vehicles during school hours, but high pedestrian use. And then, of course, there's a lot of turning movement conflicts with those crossing guards. There's also 3rd Street and Pine and Sherwood Boulevard, where there isn't really any crosswalk at that all-way intersection. And then, of course, there's that half signal at the district office that's outdated because it used to be a former school. So, and now it's an administrative office. There's a brand new Cedar Creek Trail access now. There's a new trail connection at that intersection. And then there's definitely crash history where 9 pedestrian cyclist crashes in the walk zone, including 3 fatals were serious. So what we are conceptual treatment is again a mid-block crossing at Hawks View. School parking lot driveway to the south, install a raised cross wall access drive, install a raised crosswalk across the driveway and upgrade the sidewalk and curb ramps to ADA compliant. So that would be here. With the mid-block crossing, RRFB, rectangular flashing, beacon. So the school parking lot driveway to the north, we're proposing installing a refuge again, with rectangular flashing beacon, add raised crosswalk, along the driveway, upgrade the traffic control, and lighting system. And then at the school, district mid-block, remove that outdated half signal. Modernize the refuge island with a in-street signage and install new ADA compliant curb cuts. So that would resolve that. There, this intersection was also reviewed or analyzed, and it was determined that intersection control evaluation study is needed, further is needed. But installing high visibility crosswalk on the southern legs was also identified. But again, this intersection definitely will need further evaluation. And possibly what could trigger that in the future is if this site here is ever get redeveloped. Because then
You have to do improvements.
yeah, that would determine as far as what improvements, or if they would be able to even gain access off of these roads, or where it would be just because of the way that the configuration is in regards to the road. Here's again the cost summary. Their planning level. With the cost summary, it's going to help in regards to trying to find funding or the understanding in regards to the future on how much it would you would need in order to do all these things that are in the public right of way and also the school district, the ones that are on their sites. And the last full is ridges. It identified Upper Terrace and Edie Road crossing. Being two-lane arterial, the parents parking in restricted zone causing mid-block crossings. I know that in the part of Upper Terrace and just would walk the kids right across, not going where the drive or where the crosswalks are. There was, of course, one fatal crash in the walk zone. There's definitely left turn conflicts in Nursery Way and Copper Terrace. And then the tree obstruction on the traffic controls down the street here. Just so that you guys are probably aware, ED is a Washington County roadway. So we as in the city doesn't have real true say in regards to those improvements, except there is a lot of coordination that happens. So, but conceptually, what we could do is coordinate with the ED Road widening project. So I don't know if you are aware that there is an actual capital project that is identified for ED Road. But with that, we're suggesting the pedestrian refuge island with the rapid flashing beacon again. Coordinating with the 3-lane roadway cross section upgrade. For near term, if we want to do something like a quick build, do a temporary curb extension on the southeast corner here. To help, it's like a bump out just to help slow drivers going down Edie. So operational improvements in the school zone, vegetation maintenance, the beacon time coordination with Washington County, high visibility crosswalk markings, parking restrictions near the crosswalk approaches, improving nighttime lighting, updating crosswalk warning signage. Again, a lot of coordination with the county, just because aligned with the ED road improvements, coordinate with Elwood ED roundabout project. So there's a lot of things happening just because Sherwood West is nearby too. So there's a lot of communication in regards and coordination with the county on those particular treatments. So we're estimating 88,000 for that mid-block project. So one of the key things that was discussed previously here, there was a question in regards to rapid flashing beacons versus pedestrian hybrid beacon. And not so much as here, but I know council has requested some additional information in regards to the two. And we're just identifying or bulleting that RFP are more common in Oregon, commonly used when crossing when traveling in each direction, and then more cost effective because they typically are 50 to 100K. While pedestrian hybrid beacon, which is getting installed at Timbrel and Sunset, is less common in Oregon, commonly used when crossing 2 travel lanes in each direction, and costs about 4 to 6 times more than the rapid flashing beacon. But it's my understanding, right, that the Temporal and Sunset, there is a threshold that warrants the pedestrian hybrid beacon. Is that correct?
A future need for a signal too, I think is the
Okay.
reason we're in that one. And
Okay,
this can dovetail on the TSP too, like we could come up with a TSP set of recommendations that get plugged into the TSP.
right, so this study definitely identifies the specific needs for those schools, and we would roll those in as part of the transportation system plan. In regards
And
to,
even the funding gaps too for the projects we're showing, we'll have in the TSP, and if there's no funding, we'll show that for each of the projects, and that's kind of the purpose of the plan, is to show where there's deficits, and then that allow the community to weigh in on where the priorities are. So,
right, and that's how they would be able to, we would be able to fund it. But it has to be shown on a list, and we would show it as far as incorporate all of these as part of the transportation system.
the dilemma there is we have a limited amount of funding from like the TDP, which is a county funded source, and a city street SDC, and the public needs to weigh in whether we pull that out and do a big street project, or do we split some of those funds out and do small improvements at each of that. Those are kind of what the public needs to weigh in on, and we're limited funding, so it's like it's kind of a all or nothing some areas, or do we split it up and kind of above our pay grade to make those decisions, I think. So more to come on during the TSP, I think, for the projects, but these are the projects that are gonna be plugged into it.
Right, including the Middleton element of the Safe Routes to School Action Plan that also has a list of improvements. But one of the key ones was the crossing at Timbrel at Sunset. So these we will cross that off in regards to that. And some ADA improvements as far as
Everything in the kitchen sink is what I intend to get there, and just
in regards to next steps, we're actually we will be at City Council work session on September 16th. Because this study was requested by the City Council, and so we're going to present the outcome and the findings. Again, we still need to identify grants or other funding opportunities for construction outside of ED Road. That's the only one that I know has resources, just because it's a Washington County roadway, but everything else is still needing some funding, especially the ones that are in our jurisdiction, but all of the on-site improvements that we're recommending, those will all land with the school district, and it's up to them in regards to if they want to move forward with any of these recommendations to see if they can fit it in within their budget. That is all that I have, and I can answer any questions you may have.
When was the study done?
We just, oh, thank you, Jake. It was the first walkabout we did was in May.
Okay.
So it was this year.
Okay.
So we're just finalizing it. So I actually have, 3 different reports, that are about 10 pages each for each school. So I do have those that have all the specific details as far as the analysis. But this presentation just kind of provided a snippet of exactly those conceptual improvements.
So will the board be able to provide comments up until our work session on supporting the study the way it is written, or? I think I would welcome comments to come in until that work session.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely, we could send out the reports to you all. And if you guys have any comments, at least a week before, September 16th. So that leaves you guys about 2 weeks, a week and a half or so.
Just some time, I mean, just even written comments the day of, just knowing that what your thoughts are on the study that they're presenting. Specifically the Hawk system or the PHB, the pedestrian signal versus use of RFB limited funds. Those sorts of things are kind of where your opinion may matter, but I mean, I want to just roll with the study that we have here and go.
Right, I mean, again,
With the way it is.
we'll send it out so that you guys can review it and you guys can provide us comments, definitely. But what we found that, what has historically has happened is that we would make a recommendation. We could also, it could change where they could ask for a different type of signal treatment. Like Timbrel and Sunset, where the consultant suggested rectangular rapid flashing. But then it ended up changing to a hot signal. But at least it's warranted that increase and the costs is tied to it.
So what I'm getting at is that the study won't be finalized until the TSB is adopted, I think. And then you could probably provide comments up until then on the matter. And because obviously we can't put POC systems at 50 locations in the city, so I think your opinion's there. And
Well, we're hoping that this study can get finalized and not wait for 2 years. Because I'm going, get it finalized, so then, we would take it and roll it into the TSP.
When is the city council meeting?
The 16th,
16th of September.
yes, the second.
Yes, we're asking for your support of the study the way it is.
Yes.
Work session is what I think.
So if you can review it, that would be great. I'll definitely mail it out to you all. It's tomorrow, Friday? Yes. Okay, it'll get sent out tonight, or it'll get out tonight and to everyone so that you guys can have it. And then any comments that you have, is appreciated.
One more quick question about funding, just to clarify. So like with Archer Glen, there was 2 suggestions, treatments to Sunset and treatments within the parking lot. The parking lot would be funded by the school district. You need their buy-in and their funding, or the city can, school district agrees and the city comes in and pays for it, or a hybrid of.
You haven't even gotten there yet. I'm also inviting them at the work session. So hopefully there'll be more clarity in regards to that, just because it's a different entity and I can't, in regards to coordination, with Safe Routes to School program, we help in regards to the encouragement by providing staff and also providing like giveaways, that aspect of it. I don't know as far as when it comes to actual improvements, that's a totally different level in regards to financial aspect and the commitment related to that. And the school district could also say, we don't have the funding at this time, and if and when we do have funding, we'll reevaluate it at that time. But at least the study's done, that basically a planner, an engineer, a group of people have looked at this and is like the best step forward. But again, it would be out of our hands as far as the city, since it's it's not in the public right away.
Then with our plan won't be contingent on them doing anything, I think is the way we're
Yeah.
mentioned is. Please, if you can get some money to do something on site, but ours is gonna work regardless. I
Yeah,
think.
that makes sense. And they might even choose to maybe incrementally start, enacting their plan, their plan and whatnot. Yeah, makes sense.
So all of this is in now dollars. We're looking at 2, 3 years down the road for.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a contingency in regards to evaluating future dollars. So this is just
Yeah,
not,
it'll always be at the time of adoption is when we
Yeah.
correct those dollars. When you see them in a plan, they should be at the time of
And then
adoption.
engineering may bring more cost.
To apply the inflation and.
yeah, and again, this was just the planning aspect of it. It doesn't even include all the engineering associated as far as the design and all the details that comes to making improvements. But if anything, it just gives an estimate in regards to, this is how much it would be.
Starting.
Yeah, so then you're not going in there blindly, you know.
That's put in a lot of work on this. Thank you. That's much appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you guys, as far as this board, you receive a lot of requests, right? And especially tied to schools. So hopefully, you know, if we can remove these one at a time and resolve them.
And I show them all too. I think that's my intent with TSP is I like the mid-block crossing in my neighborhood too, and to show them. And how much it costs to fund them, and the community will realize. We don't have the money to fund all of them, and then that alone will help prioritize where. we
Right.
fund them.
But if anything, you know, having the study completed may hopefully in the future, allow some grant funding, you know, as long as it's been adopted or accepted. And then at least we can mention it that we've done it. That there's actually been analysis that's been, you know, completed. So then, it would make our application look better. It's just unfortunate. It is fortunate, but unfortunate that we're a wealthy community. And so sometimes we lose out because we are a wealthy community and, you know, we don't have a lot of kids that are the Title I schools where we're balancing in regards to, we don't score well in regards to that. But at least the project is done in the sense that it's written and that we can move forward and see what we can utilize. At least, if anything, we could add it to the list of
And
items that need-
priorities too, like bulb outs at Archery Land, that we didn't capture with the paving, Refuge Island, over off Sunset, those may be things that we need to get funded and prioritize, and I think that's what we'll be back at the TSB, getting their list of recommendations for the TSB. I think that's kind of the crux of over the next few meetings by the end of the year, over the next year, is to put together a bullet point list of items that the TSB recommends to the city council for the transportation system plan, honestly, might be the most helpful thing.
I mean, all of these studies are gonna help inform the TSP updates.
Right, I have a couple of questions. What public outreach has been done or is planned before this is adopted?
Oh. We haven't really done anything outside of, you know, the principal, working with the school district directly and the principal. So it was locally funded, as in the city has funded it. It's not any gigantic study related to where outreach it was a requirement. Right, like the TSP update, definitely, we're gonna have some open houses, maybe even an online survey. We have a website dedicated to it and things like that, as a requirement for land use law, you know, citizen involvement is a key element. We have not what I can raise that question in regards to city council on how they would like us to move forward in regards to this study. If there needs to be any additional outreach related to it.
Okay, I would recommend that.
Yeah.
These are hot topics for
Yes.
people in the city and.
So my suggestion would be, or has been that we do, like a December, kind of like the county does for paving projects and stuff. We do a catch-all, projects meeting in December, and then 6 months opposite that, before a budget gets adopted, we do another one and catch all just public projects, and this would include that. But I don't have a specific direct answer of public involvement, because I agree, we need to have a come one, come all.
I just know that
Meeting.
this study was spurred, I think, was spurred on because somebody was complaining very loudly. Which led to the concern, they got to council, and then.
Yeah, and this
Study
This
started,
is beyond just the meeting too, it's like paving projects, bridge,
but this
everything.
study that you're showing us today was because somebody had an issue. And that person doesn't know that you did this. And hasn't had a chance to provide feedback on your recommendations. I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying, I think it's important that people be given an opportunity. To weigh in and provide feedback. I have quite a few comments and I'll just email them to you. Well, it'll be good to look at the actual reports, but
Okay.
I just think it'll be good to get comments back before it gets finalized, and like, this is the project, it might modify a little bit based on what comments you get back from people.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, if anything, it's not finalized, it's like a draft final where we're still getting input.
Yeah.
And that's why we're presenting it to you guys, because you guys are a key element in regards
So I think
to.
it's great, and I think it's, I'm glad that you brought it and showed it to us. There probably are some other people that would like to have a chance to.
So definitely, we'll bring the topic in regards to the public outreach that council may want, in regards to this.
In your comments, I too, I like had one on the archery plan.
Okay.
And the school district, the hybrid beacon, or the emergency signals at the school district
Yeah.
offices and taking it out.
Okay, so we'll generate the reports for you guys. I'll send them out, as soon as I get home, because I'm off the next couple of days. But I fully understand in regards to the comment as far as public outreach, because the request in regards to the analysis was from city council for it to get to be conducted.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're also bringing it to them on the 16th.
My other question was the study on the Archer Glen parking lot itself. Is that something that the city council asked to be included, or is that a typical aspect of Safe Routes to School action plan?
Yes, it
Do you
is.
do that on the other sides too? Because.
Yes, because like, we evaluated the flow, because I was personally at, the Ridges School. And the flow of their, on-site drop-off and pickup. And there wasn't really any major backups in regards to Copper Terrace. Everything was working for their site, and it's fairly new as far as school itself. So the observation that we conducted, it looked as if the on-site was fine. There wasn't anything significant. Even where they had the crossing guards, we were just evaluating just to make sure that they were clearly seen and that the drivers were paying attention and just making sure that they're following the rules of the road. And that's where we didn't find anything. The only significant improvements at the Ridges was the whole Edie Road, that particular intersection.
I'll add, the school district seemed to have taken care of as much as they can with the trying to get the Sherwood Boulevard site. They had done as much as they could there. Other schools they could, and this was the one site where they probably hadn't addressed all the issues.
Dr. Glenn, I think there's also stacking that's happening during drop off and pickup. And so they were, because one of the things we did was we observed at drop off and we observed at pickup. And this from, seeing the conflict points as far as the vehicles and the pedestrians. It was suggested, you know, you guys probably should create this island there. So then at least the parents that are coming to go pick up the kids, they'll have some type of refuge than just trying to maneuver in between cars. But again, the school district was part of this conversation and also as far as the school administrator, a school administrator, and also the principal for each of these schools. You know, we asked them very specific questions of what are the concerns are you hearing from the parents? And your teachers and administrators, what are you guys finding? in regards to-
Worth pointing out in the study though, too, we looked at on-site circulation for each school. All these are adequate. This is the reason,
Seemed odd.
yeah, this is the reason we're suggesting here, and that would be my answer, because we did ask that. When we were out at the school, the Sherwood Boulevard stuff, and they went over what they had done, and we're like, wow. You really thought this one out. The other schools had been thought out, and I think that just Archery went with the location. And they had maybe expectations, we put bulb outs with our paving project and we didn't. This probably might be the site where they didn't put the on-site solutions into, and it might be worth mentioning the other sites. Seem to be well thought out and we didn't, that's why we're not suggesting on-site stuff there. That's a good point, so we did discuss that did come up very. Their views of, hey, seem to have everything dialed in here as much as we can. On Sherwood Boulevard, but. What can we do there? And that's the reason that wasn't there.
Yeah, no, the only reason I asked is because it seemed odd for the public,
Yeah.
for the city's study to have private property, the school district's property improvement when we have no control over them.
Right, but it is part of, if on-site circulation impacts our right of way. So it's identifying what can,
Drop off.
yeah, what can, better the site so that that doesn't happen. But but it is, I would say it is under the Safe Routes to School evaluation. And we're doing a little different. We did something different in regards to these three schools because we didn't do a full-blown Safe Routes to School action plan. Where that includes encouragement, you know, do the roll and bike to school days. And we didn't have like a law enforcement officer sitting at the table with us. Evaluating also like we did with Middleton Elementary. We needed some answers just because it was directed by council to get this study done. And we did the Middleton Elementary Safe Routes to School Action Plan because we were trying to get funding for temporal. And unfortunately, we didn't get awarded that. But council was kind enough to find money so that we can do those improvements. So,
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
oh, not a problem, but I will share the reports with you guys and put comment deadlines so that please share. So then, but if you want to tune in, definitely the 16th of September. Yeah, their second hearing in September, and the consultant will be there. So someone from Kittleson will be there to help answer more technical questions too.
Okay. Any other staff comments?
Just a reminder, when you guys reply with your comments, to not reply all, just reply just to the.
Thank you.
Anytime. That'd be fun.
Okay,
I mean.
sounds good. Yes, appreciate it. Okay, so adjourn.
I did
It's
witness
like
the,
4 times.
it was still very constructive.